Hello, this video is a little insight to the different personalities of birds of prey, noticeable in falconry. In my experience, the most varied is with the incredibly unique and beautiful great grey owl. This one is Greta, she's 4 years old, and her flying weight is 2 pounds 5 ounces, which makes her the largest great grey I've ever worked with. Now, when it comes to different species of owls and birds of prey, they all have typical characteristics which help when deciding which one to keep and for what purpose. For example, a barn owl is a smallish, medium-sized owl that's reasonably easy to train. They're quite forgiving and usually rather loyal to their keeper. A red-tailed hawk, as another example, is a larger raptor that's naturally very aggressive and therefore very suitable for hunting and not very greatly suitable for display flying and so on. Now, whilst this knowledge remains a good foundation for choosing which bird to keep and for what purpose, or even just as a guide as to what to expect, each individual bird is unique. I'm often asked on displays if the birds have different personalities, and the answer is yes, but actually it's far more varied than you'd expect. Over the years, I've worked with many different birds of the same species, and each one has always been different. I've known birds to be excitable or easily distracted, greedy, sometimes lazy or attention-seeking. They're placid, agoraphobic, fastidious, indifferent. I mean, these are just a handful of words I can think of to describe the different personalities I've encountered. Some of the birds' attributes are a result of the way they were reared, like hand-reared, parent-reared, creche-reared, etc. But many of the traits they possess are there just because it's just the way they are, regardless of their rearing. That leads me back to the great grey owl. I have to admit they are one of my personal favourite species of owls, visually at least. The large face, which works like a satellite dish for incredible hearing, along with the patterns and colours on the feathers, make them absolutely magnificent looking birds. Take a look at this picture here, photographed and put together by Andrew from Opaque Impressions. It shows a great grey's face from owlet, then juvenile, to adult over 6 months. Oh, and by the way, Andrew also created the thumbnail for this video. A link to his pages are in the comments below. Great grey owls are a stunning species. However, their varying personalities between different individual birds makes them potentially tricky customers. The last 3 great greys I've kept and trained over the years were all different. The first was called Charlie. I hand-reared him with the help of my team from about 3 weeks old. And he grew up around people, spent time in various different places, spent time with dogs nearby and so on. That's what hand-rearing is. Once he was fully grown, I trained him to fly, and he was truly impeccable. He would fly to anyone, anywhere. You could set him free, and he'd just fly from tree to tree, exploring the different branches, and as soon as you put your hand out, he'd fly straight down to your arm. He even did some TV work with ITV, and on the day of filming, he did exactly what he should, just as he was trained to in the studio without error. Unfortunately, Charlie died at just 9 months old, very suddenly, for no obvious reason, which was such a terrible shame. A couple of years later, I bought another young great grey owl from a breeder, another male. This time we called him Gordon. He was hand-reared in exactly the same way as Charlie, from the same age and in the same places, with the same exposures to dogs and crowds, etc. But he turned out to be a far harder bird to train. He was clumsy, which, to be fair, is a typical trait of the great grey. He had a bit of a nervous edge, and he was easily distracted. Now, comparing those two owls proves how certain things are down to just the individual personalities of the birds. Now, as Gordon wasn't very happy flying in different venues, he went to Sion Hill Bird of Prey Centre near Thirsk in North Yorkshire. Now, a centre environment is a much better home for him, so we're really pleased that he's there now. Now, Greta is very different to the other two. She's a fantastic flyer and has the most stunning adult plumage, but she definitely prefers women to men, and she is a challenge when putting on her furniture, like the leather dresses she wears when tethered to a perch. So, each bird has its own personality. Some birds are predictable and some are not. You never really know what to expect. To summarise, the great grey owl is beautiful and complex, and the perfect example of how birds of prey, like any animal I guess, have their own individual personalities. Now, if you like this video, then please hit the subscribe button, like and comment. Thank you very much.